The Confederacy of Dunks is now on the Talkhole Podcast Network. Check out talkhole.co for more great podcasts.
Great.
Got a little intro song.
Hello. Can anyone around here speak basketball?
It's the Confederacy of Dunks with Kevin Dowse and Freddie Rebus.
Oh, baby. We're here. We're back. I just want you to know every time that Matt does that intro, he stares me down.
Yeah,
in the face.
I do.
And it just feels real weird every time. I like it, though. You're dedicated. It's just me here today, Freddie Rebus.
Yeah.
No Kevin.
Catching up on Boston Legal.
Yeah, catching up on Boston Legal, figuring out what the storylines are, how we're all feeling about Gilmore Girls and such. No, but we got two guests. I'll intro them one at a time. First up, from my high school, hilarious comedian, awesome dude. Please give it up in your homes for Matt Henry.
Yeah. You're not clapping. You should start clapping right now.
You hear him? Start clapping.
Clap it up, guys. Not you, the people at home specifically. I want you to
Listen,
clap.
he's giving you instructions that if you're not doing them, something's wrong.
You're listening.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on the pod. We're gonna get to some ball, but let's just intro the other guest. Good friend of mine. Still, for some reason, has one of those Facebook names that hasn't been discovered. It's James McCoochie Good Baby. One of the best out there. I can't believe he still has it. Give it up for James McRae.
Oh, yeah. You thought long and hard on that one, Matt.
Yeah, Matt works hard on his intro
Went
song.
deep into the sound archive.
This is you surveying land for your next map. With like giant.
No, this is like a Settlers of Catan commercial.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
I'm wearing a tunic to this song for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know whose menu music this is. You know what I mean? But I feel like I'm just looking through my bag. I gotta find the right item. You know what I mean?
I need more gold. I need to buy a pickaxe.
I level up my armor right now? That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah. I'm in a forest and I don't know when I might be attacked. So
Giant
I should be wearing
spiders
armor.
from the trees.
How you doing, James?
I'm very well, thank you, Freddie.
Thanks for doing the pod.
Very pumped to be here. Long-time listener, first-time guest.
Oh my God.
Like some of that.
Oh wow, we got a ding from Matt. He's happy.
I don't
about
hand
that.
those out. Just willy-nilly.
Is there a
Yeah.
running total? Like, is that a point?
Yeah, that's a guest point for you.
Also, I just made a decision. When I refer to Matt Duncan, who's recording the podcast, I'm just going to call him Duncan.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call
it's
Matt
true.
Henry Matt.
Yeah.
That's
Does
perfect.
that make sense?
Mats.
I
Two
get
Mats.
it.
You know what I mean?
So many Mats in this
I'm
world.
just realizing that there's 4 people, 2 Mats.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Perfect.
It's a lot of Mats.
You can also call me grandson.
Grandson. Oh, okay.
You started All Saints Live before, like my origins of stand-up, but it was before I got there, even got into it, and then you were gone.
Yeah.
So you are the granddaddy of my
I'm the granddaddy of
career.
Of live sketch comedy shows at Catholic schools.
We crushed those.
Yeah, man. I think people like
We
those.
worked with the parameters we had of a Catholic school.
Yeah, the supervision. You know,
Yes.
you got to be inclusive. Also, like, it's going to be a buyout. So you better believe people are paying $2 for it and they want good stuff.
Yeah. We started not getting paid early in our careers, which is
I know.
good.
Yeah, it's really good to establish
Realistic goals
realistic
in entertainment.
goals, making people laugh, and then people being like, "Oh, that's like for your joy, right?" And you're like, "It is," but I'm also hungry.
Yeah.
So, but let's get to it. So, Raptors, I believe, are off to a 9-6 start. Things are okay, but
10-6?
Yeah, sorry. You know what? It is 10-6 after the Milwaukee win yesterday.
Yeah.
So I think things are looking okay. Obviously, not as hot of a start as last year, but we've had an encouraging couple games from Damari Carroll. So I wanted to get to how you both are feeling about Carroll. Is this the type of Carroll we should expect? Hitting threes, kind of like jumping out in passing lanes, playing pretty solid defense, or is Carroll kind of just at that age where he's slowing down in general? We'll start with you, James.
This just reminds me of the terror that I experience with fantasy basketball. Of just like when a guy starts getting injured, and you're just like, but he produces when he's there, but then he's injured, and I'm just a little nervous all the time. I feel like Damari's brittle. Yeah, he's had a good couple games, but like I don't know if they like injected something into his Achilles to make it looser or what the case is, but I don't know, man. I mean, like I'm a fingers crossed kind of guy. Hope for the best, but then not all I hear, but what I see and what I read is like, oh, he's lost a step, and if you start losing a step, I don't know where you find the step back from.
Is it fair to say that you'd like to see some more?
I'd like to see some more, but
give the man a bit more.
It can also be a matter of like kind of like, oh, I'm not the spring chicken anymore, and I have to learn to play smarter with my new skill set and playing with what he has. So maybe he's just like adjusting his game given his new realities. I don't know.
Okay, Matt, how many times a day do you think DeMarre Carroll says to himself, I'm not a spring chicken anymore?
I don't know if he's a spring chicken exactly, but you know what? My thing is, it's like DeMarre Carroll, as for what he is, I'm an old school basketball lover. Bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like a guy of that size, if he's shooting consistently, okay. But honestly, I'm not designing a lot of plays for him to shoot the ball.
Yeah, he's a scrappy guy.
Like, you know what I mean? And on top of that, I need someone to guard LeBron James. Totally. Guarding LeBron James is shift work, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's a hard thing to do.
6 fouls, use them.
That's what I'm saying, and you're probably going to have to amongst a bunch of guys.
Yeah, and he's necessary in that shift work for sure.
He has to be if you really want to even.
Okay, how about this? So, do you think he's up for that shift work?
I think he is. I think that's just the type of player he is, and I don't think he would even admit to saying that he's not. You know what I mean? Not ready to do that.
Yeah.
Because he's a tough guy, and that's why they brought him in for the toughness.
Totally. He's got the size.
And the smart. Yeah, he's a smart player.
He's a very smart player. And I mean, like, just the way our offense opens up with him shooting like that and trailing and hitting threes, it just makes the Raptors much tougher team to guard and really kind of like takes the pressure off guys like DeRozan and Lowry.
Sorry, I can go over.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, didn't we have like a hard time with threes off the top of the season, Patrick and DeMarre?
Oh yeah, we started real slow for
right.
threes.
So like hopefully
we caught up a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just DeMarre. It's like a bunch of players who can like now trail on the play and like hit those threes and you know.
Because like remember when Lakers had Lamar Odom and then he used to do I used to hate that, man. I used to hate that so much. Cause
I just hate the Lakers, so.
Yeah, and that's valid, and that's also a valid thing to do.
Yeah.
Kobe's gone, so I can hate him officially now. And I can let it go. And I can just die with the Knicks, right?
Yeah.
And I'm cool with
the
that.
Knicks. The Knicks is just like always the slowest death.
But they're seventh. They're
they're a fun team to watch.
They actually are. And
they're a fun team to watch. But with DeMarre Carroll's like, man, there's certain. I think they brought him in specifically because of the mindset of what the Raptors are right now. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
he fits the like toughness, work ethic, all that.
He fits the mold. Unlike the idea, I don't know, the idea of your big guy trailing and then jacking up a shot there. Like, how often do you really want to do that? You know what I mean? Like, how consistent or efficient is that?
Yeah.
Not with our big guys.
Yeah, if you have like Joel Embiid, it's like, just do what you want to do, Embiid. But like,
these new guys are different, man.
Yeah,
they're calling out each other on Instagram.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just same Joel Embiid calling out dudes in preseason games, and he's just saying, awesome. "I'm gonna cook you," and then he proceeds, and I think that's great.
Embiid, okay. If you don't like follow Embiid in some regard on social media, you need to because he's hilarious. He's embraced the nickname The Process, which I think is straight up hilarious. Like,
as in a work in? No, that's progress.
Like, okay, the whole thing with Philly is that they were like so bad on purpose for so long. And they were like, trust the process. We're gonna be good at some point. And now he's just like,
he is physically the process.
He is. Wow. Yeah, he embodies the process, and he's like, just call me the process. Which I love that so much. But I wasn't really going to talk about him, but he does seem to be like a runaway rookie of the year right now. I'm sure we'll touch on that later because other people will emerge. But I wanted to also get to Norm Powell. He's not playing, but he kind of like comes in situationally. But I honestly don't see who is playing, whether it's Ross, Carroll, Lowry, Corey, or DeMar, that he should really be taking minutes from. I feel like if we're really serious about the playoffs, maybe we need to take some of those minutes from Lowry and DeRozan. but at the same time, all these games are tight, and we got to win the games.
Yep.
So is it just like? I guess what I'm getting at is it just like an embarrassment of riches, and it's a good problem, and no one should be worrying about it, or are you kind of like, no, Norm should be playing over blank? Matt?
No, I think you can flaunt them a little bit. I was at the playoff game when
The dunk?
Yeah, with that.
Oh, my God.
And they came back from that, right? You know what I mean? They were down
That's
for
a
a while.
huge game to be at.
And it was electric, man. It was
That is a legendary game. I've watched that game on YouTube like 50 times.
It was fire in there. So yeah, he does have the ability to bring electricity, but the question is he do you envision a championship team with Norm Powell on it? You know what I mean? It's one of those things like with like Lou Williams. Like remember when we had that, like Lou Williams, he's a poor man's my dude from the Clippers,
Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, that's all. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
everybody wants that. But Jamal Crawford's a special breed.
Yeah.
And
I always hated Lou Williams because the ball never moved around.
Yeah.
And he had a couple hero moments, but it was like,
He had hero moments right at the start of the season,
Yeah.
which tricked everyone.
right. But yeah, Norm,
For the whole rest of
Norm's
the
young.
season.
Like, yeah, I don't know if you were getting here, but like,
flaunt the piece, man. And if
I-
you got to
yeah.
move him. Because
Well,
it's not like when he's on,
sure.
he's wasting time and he's making poor decisions. He makes great decisions.
yeah, totally.
So I like him on the court, and if you got to rest people, rest them.
Yeah,
And even things out because you want a deep playoff run,
totally.
right? So
How are you feeling about Norm? Or you feel like he's like he's second year, it's okay, or are you kind of like, man, maybe we should trade this guy and get somebody, or he needs to play more?
Was he one of the platoon that got put on LeBron last year in the playoffs? Did he?
And this year
Yeah,
during the
and
regular
he's been-
season,
so-
he's played this year. He's actually come into a lot of fourth quarters. Like he comes in cold,
Right.
which is so tough for a player. But Norm plays such good on-ball defense. He's so aggressive. He really drives well. And like just from like a little tidbit I thought was cool, he went to UCLA, so he worked out with Westbrook last year. So it's kind of like, man, if this guy is one of these like, you know how DeMar was just in the in club with whether it's like Curry, Harden, like he was just with those guys, and you know that that's the crew, and like he's gonna be good. Powell has a little bit of that. Like if he's hanging out with Westbrook, his career is probably going in a good place.
well, I'll tell you what, Terrence Ross has to figure it out.
He's got to
And
join
not
those
even
guys.
that. He has to figure it out because the question is, it's like, who is more going to be a more consistent player in 5 years?
Yeah.
Norm Powell or Terrence Ross? And I tell you what, that's a toss-up. That's a coin
Yeah,
toss.
in 5 years, I'd probably lean towards Norman Powell.
That's what I'm saying.
Especially like he's got it's those damn arms, man. Like
Yeah,
those
he's
arms.
deceiving.
They're deceiving, and like he's got that. Like we were talking about earlier with Damari. It's just like you bring that attitude, you bring that like work ethic, and that is unteachable and all that kind of thing. I'm not smart enough to know if they should take minutes away from someone, but.
Yeah, we're
We're
filling up some water.
Yeah,
here.
so I don't
If
know
you're
if
hearing the odd
that water
plop-
startled me.
If you're hearing the odd plop, we're filling up some water glasses.
Just
folks.
talking about Norman Powell filling up some water glasses. But no, like I'm always I watch basketball and I'm like, okay, there's 15 guys on the roster. Some of them just never play. And I'm always like, okay, I guess they're happy and satisfied with their lot in life. They're still on a professional NBA team. But like, you're a second-year player. I don't think Norman strikes me as the kind of guy who's just like,
You can use
when
his
I
full name.
spend time with him, he seems very relaxed about his playing time. No. Like you said, I don't know who he takes away from, but like then you say, he's not hurting anything, and we need those numbers
and
to
we
come
need the
in.
depth for sure.
We need the depth. And
he's probably pushing Terrence Ross.
He has to.
So in practice,
He has to be.
everybody should be pushing Terrence Ross.
and in practice also like DeMar's exploding, and there's so many factors to anytime a player takes a big leap or whatever. But if you think about it, I'm sure Powell has been guarding DeMar a ton. He's probably the main guy who guards him. I know that DeMar DeRozan actually credits James Johnson for some of his shot making this year because in practice he'd always work out with James Johnson during the year last year, and we didn't
as an athletic defender.
and a guy who's way taller than him.
Right.
A guy who's got a couple inches on him, and as we see, DeMar seems to be getting off his shot.
Has DeMar missed this season? Like, are you kidding me?
No, his jump shot rate is preposterous.
Crisp. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
And that shot at the end of the
Resurrecting
Milwaukee
the mid-range
game.
man.
Oh,
Like
man.
that's all. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Consistent shooting from that range, and I tell you what, you string that together for a season. Not only going to have great numbers, your playoff. That time, live by the 3, die by the 3. I hate that. But live by the jumper, sorry. Die by the jumper.
Yeah. Live by the dumper?
Yeah, you live by the dumper.
Hey, at least you got a dumper beside you.
Very true. You might have already been dead by that dumper for a long time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, even with, I just, at the end of the Sacramento game, the one in Sacramento on this road trip, when they were just kind of flailing around a bit and then that shot wasn't dropping for DeMar, he still, you have to have that ego that it's going to go down. It's going to go down. But there seems to be still a couple little moments where he's getting doubled and the shot's really not there.
Yeah.
He still needs to recognize that.
They're a great rebounding team, and I think it's just easier to grab boards from such a close range than opposed to when you're jacking it up from so far.
Yeah.
And it's all hopes lost after that,
And when Sullinger comes back, that's probably going to work even better because Sullinger, has he has lots of flaws as a player.
Forgot
but
our
he's an
signing.
excellent rebounder.
And he's power.
Him and
He'll come in at
Valanciunas
power
is gonna
forward.
be a really good rebounding unit.
Who's starting at power forward right now?
Siakam.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The good old Rook.
But so I feel like we're all kind of consensus on Norm. It's not that bad that he's not playing. That's just the nature of the NBA, and we got a really good team.
And
so.
just
And if he replaced Terrence Ross, do we care?
Not really. And
what
you know
is
what?
he
Ross
doing?
might get injured.
That's what I'm saying.
Powell can throw up threes and defend a bit better than Ross, to my
That's what I'm saying.
estimation. And it's just okay, winner, and the fact that we've got another power, our starting power forward hasn't been there all season. So and I'm just depth and the comfort and joy that comes with it. It's not just Chris Bosh and who knows.
Totally. Masai Ujiri has really just focused on roster depth, and it's really paying off.
Which is great for the regular season, but then there's the reality of the superstar playoffs. Still,
Well, it's about coming in and doing your job, right?
Yeah.
Everyone in San Antonio does. I feel they have a punch-in time card over there for those practices, bro. You're getting in, you're doing, and if you do anything that is not your job, Popovich, he'll kill you.
Yeah. He's been known to
or
kill
at least
people.
not share one of his fine bottles of wine.
That's what
Oh yeah, he's a wine guy.
That's what I'm saying. You're not, and I don't want him.
You're not
to
on
be
the wine list.
Mad at me. So and now the Raptors are finally developing. You come in and do your job. So Damari Carroll, with that, even with Norman Powell, he's coming in. You're doing your job, maximizing
even
your position.
Kyle Lowry, there's a bit of at the end of that Washington series we got swept in. Kyle was just being such a sassy little I don't care about anything, and ever since then I haven't seen that as much. There's
the wheels came off, and
the wheels did come off, and Masai didn't blow it up.
No,
yeah.
There's no point in doing that.
Yeah, and credit to him for being that
he did
sucked so
get
bad.
rid of all Casey's assistants, didn't he? Wasn't it after the Washington series? Yeah.
No, I think the Masai Casey relationship's been really interesting for Raptors history because it's just so rare that a GM comes in, keeps the coach, and then, things don't really go that well, and he still keeps the coach.
Yeah.
Because I always thought that, I heard on some podcast or something, or read somewhere that Masai was saving the firing of Casey to be to extend his time.
Yes,
so basically be okay, it wasn't my guy.
That's what we all do. That's the Leafs, bro. That's The Leafs are always in the middle of a 5-year plan.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And then
That's true.
It's midway through the 5-year plan. They go, oh, hold on, wait a minute. Sorry. This was wrong. So we got to start over. We got to fire this guy.
But they always forget that they were in the 5-year
That's
plan.
what I'm
Let's
saying.
just trade for him.
But we got to start a new 5-year plan
Yeah.
3 years in. It's horrible. And now I don't feel we're ever going to have to start a new plan. We have a camp. I'm comfortable now with sending my kid to a Raptors camp because I know he's actually going to learn something productive. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And it's a great learning environment, I could only assume, based on the progression
Is
of
your
the team.
kid good at basketball?
He's good, man. Trace can shoot, bro.
Yeah? Nice, man.
He just finished his house league stuff. He's 6. So
Nice. Man, I was marvel at kids that age who can score in a 10-foot net.
Yeah.
You watch them, they're doing the layups and popping shots. I was watching LeBron James kids highlights, and he's insane.
Yeah.
But the whole league's insane.
Yeah.
Because I was pretty decent at basketball. I played as soon as I could. But yeah, I just don't remember being nasty when I was 6.
But you played LeBron James is your dad.
Yeah.
And LeBron what?
But also Matt Henry is your dad.
That I can, and that's true. I might be. LeBron could adopt my son if need be. You know what I mean? Take him.
See, that's a responsible
Take
father.
him. You know what I mean? I know you're better off, man. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I want him to adopt me. I think
Yeah.
I've passed that age.
Yeah.
Take him.
Yeah.
Because he's going to
Just
learn how.
adopt the whole family.
He's
you know
going to
what I mean?
learn how to pass the ball at minimum. You know what I mean? He'll pass his way to the NBA. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He may not have the genetic genes that the son's got, the blood one's got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The gift.
We're really going into like you and your family moving in with LeBron James.
Hey, we got to do what we got to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
What's best for him.
He's got a big house. There's room.
Oh yeah, he's got a couple big houses.
Yeah.
One or
Live in
two
one
big-
of his cars or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
One of
Yeah,
his-
you could live
his
in one of his
Kias.
vans, one of his cars. I'm sure he's got some like orb in the ocean or something.
Yeah. It generates all its power from
He's
the
got lots of
movements.
cool stuff for sure.
LeBron being your dad, you gotta think about those kids. Why they're so good? It's you're playing 1-on-1 with LeBron James from
Yeah.
the time you're 6 years old.
Yeah, and he's probably so insanely competitive that he like crowned.
Well,
this,
it's like,
So
yeah.
he dunks on those kids,
Like
man. You
growing
gotta be
up-
dunking on those kids while you can.
Yeah.
While you can, because
Yeah,
they're gunning for you.
Growing
Yeah.
up playing board games, this is my reality, playing board games. And you're like,
Okay,
did
let's switch
dad
it up
let me
here."
win this time? But it's like, with LeBron, it's like, nah, dad didn't let me win again. Okay, well, maybe when I'm 22. Maybe when
Yeah.
I can dunk over him, you know?
Yeah.
He's like 40-something or whatever.
But LeBron will definitely be like 65-year-old dunker.
Yeah.
Like we've seen it with like Dominique Wilkins and like MJ still like, oh, I'm a bit tired, but I can dunk if you just give me a coffee. You know what I mean? Like LeBron like will be the old. I think he'll be the oldest dunker ever.
Oh, yeah.
Like he'll be this guy who's just like
Oldest dunker
71, who's like,
Too much, man.
I might tear my back, but I'm gonna dunk one last time.
There was a few players recalled from the 905 today: Bruno, Pirtle, and Van Vliet.
Sorry, recalled or assigned?
Recalled.
Yeah, well,
What is
so
it? Does anything happen with that?
well, so basically, the awesome part about having a 905 team is we can get guys like obviously Bruno, but Pirtle.
Yeah,
we can give them tons of minutes.
Yeah.
So Pirtle, you know, he's losing out to Bebe right now in like the backup center thing, but it's like we can get him reps.
Yeah.
You know, he's really young.
Throw him down and then. yeah.
And yeah, that was huge for Norman Powell, huge for DeLon Wright.
But when they're brought back up,
Yeah,
they're
what
just sitting at the end of the bench.
I think they're there because, you know, sometimes crazy things do happen. Like, let's say there's a game where, like, Lowry gets injured and it's like, oh, my God, that's insane. But then Corey gets injured.
Yeah.
DeLon's going to see some time.
Right.
So he needs to be there, needs to be ready. But we're talking about depth. We're talking about the Raptors. I want to talk about, do we still think, or sorry, I guess I don't know where you guys stand on this. But for me, I wasn't really about the Celtics, you know, taking that number 2 spot from Toronto. I'm still not really. I was wondering how you guys feel about, are the Toronto Raptors the second best team in the Eastern Conference in your mind, or is someone challenging them?
Who has a better backcourt than the Raptors, bro? Like you have to
Yeah.
ask yourself, even in like the NBA, what combination, and you have to take them both.
Yeah.
Do you really want, or what's really better, more consistent? It's only really with these two guys how much time they want to put in and the pieces that are around them. Because there's no better backcourt.
Yeah. So you think that backcourt kind of like cements that number 2 spot?
That's what I'm, because I think they're better than John Wall and company. You know.
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
well Washington.
I was just looking at the
Man,
standings.
Washington is like having another disaster season. I don't understand. Actually, every year or the last 2 years, I've been like Washington 6th in the East in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But like they're just like
They're 5-10 or
not
something.
they're
doing
five
right
and
now.
10. They're falling apart
Yeah.
They're
again.
not doing it, and it's up
I don't
to
understand.
the Raptors to continue with this. I like Kyle Lowry. Yeah, you got to pay Kyle Lowry what you got to pay him, and you pay DeMar what you got to pay those guys until I see somebody else. Because the only other really scary thing coming up right now is like Minnesota. Like Minnesota is a scary team to watch right now.
Yeah, there's a couple like Denver's got some nice pieces.
they're growing over there, whatever. But in their backcourt, but right now the Toronto backcourt, that's the one you want.
So like backcourt aside, James, do you feel like a team like Atlanta has a better record than us right now? Do you think, you know, with Coach Bud and like the system they have over at you know, they call it Hawks University. Do you see the Hawks as maybe being better, or maybe a healthy Celtics? Do you still think they're better than the Raptors?
What I can say, just to kind of skirt around the part that I don't have enough information to give an answer to,
Sure.
I
Skirt
was
away, my friend.
I was confused based on preseason understandings, like how well the Knicks and Chicago are doing so far.
I'm also pretty shocked, but yeah.
And I guess part of that is like, well, the danger of like that lack of depth. Like if Dwayne Wade is like, oh, I'm so old and has to sit for a bit, what happens
which
to
for
Chicago?
sure will happen.
You know, this
Yeah.
kind of thing. So again, depth factors into it. I'm also was kind of surprised at how well Atlanta's doing because I thought they lost some big pieces, but I guess the whole Hawks University business helped. But
and Howard, man, like
Dwight
not,
Howard.
not a lot of
And
people are talking about Howard is having
in
a
well.
full-on comeback.
He's like,
And he
he's-
loves it there.
He loves it there. It's
right?
his home.
That's
he's
it.
he's straight up like I've him in fantasy, and I also have Dennis Schroeder. And Dennis Schroeder's doing like kind of what people thought like slightly inefficient, but he's decent.
Right.
But I think the real difference maker is that you have, Paul Millsap is still at the top of his game, and Howard's just playing like exceptional basketball.
Yeah.
He's having fun out there, man.
I will say because of what I don't know the exact depth on the other teams, but from the depth on the Raptors, because of what happens in an NBA season, because of the sitting out 3 games with a sore ankle, because of this, because of that, you need the depth, and we have the depth, and Kyle and DeMar, knock on all the wood, wherever it is, like except for last season, DeMar's been pretty durable. Kyle, he has his moments, but he's been taking care of himself.
The big thing for us is making sure those minutes are down
by the end of the season.
And Casey is trying.
Fatigue.
Casey's been. I was just reading. Casey's been pulling Lowry just a bit quicker than usual.
Right.
But it also results in these like really close games with Milwaukee because, we touched on this before, but we don't have the like super duper star like game enders that some other teams do. So we have tons of close games. So yeah, like making sure Lowry is healthy coming in the playoffs has got to be the number one priority. To me, if it's finishing in 5th versus 2nd, but a healthy Lowry, we finish in 5th, I'll take that any day.
Yeah, because we're like the top Atlanta, Boston, Toronto. Put Toronto on top.
I think you also got to throw Charlotte in there.
Oh, that's true. They've been playing real well. With Bellinelli just going off.
I know.
But
he's one of those guys every second year, you're like, what the hell, Bellinelli?
Until last night when he got a friggin' hamstring.
Honestly, I think the more close games the Raptors play, the better, dude. Because
as far as like battle testing,
like they gotta do that. And you let these guys smash like every Raptors record. They're like let DeMar keep murdering these Vince Carter.
Oh man, DeMar is about to. Yeah, sorry.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Let him.
He's about to get a bunch of records this year
and crush them all.
Yeah.
And start not necessarily striking fear into teams, but make them not want to play you.
Yeah.
You don't want to. You know what I mean? Be the team that they don't want to get first round. Nobody wants to get LeBron in the first round, right?
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, I don't think anyone wants to get the Raptors either. They used to.
Yeah, we're scrappy enough that people are kind of like, shit.
But now they put the cameras on us. We got that national spotlight. They showing Jurassic Park outside.
Yeah.
They don't want to come here. Yeah. And if we can keep that type of environment, that type of mentality of we're gutting anyone who's coming in here.
Yeah, I think that's gonna stick, and I think like that kind of like just going back to your Spurs kind of culture point, like Casey did bring in that rock.
Yeah.
We do have that pound the rock.
Rock.
No, it's hilarious, man. But it works. Like everyone pounds this giant boulder in the ACC, but at the same time, it's like
the hype in there.
It's
man.
like it's the psychology, and Casey believes in that, and he's actually been given the tenure and the time.
I hope it's like
a
weird egg that Casey just like had to keep somewhere indoors.
Oh,
it was going to hatch over like 3 years. And
oh my god!
An actual raptor will be born.
It's an actual raptor, but like that can ball. and everyone's like, okay, that's like prehistoric. We want to study this, but at the same time, like NBA GMs are like, you don't necessarily own that raptor. Like,
you got to put it in the draft.
You got to put it in the draft, and then it's a whole rights issue.
No, you could definitely sign him as a free agent.
Yeah, like we're like the first, like how Man U is like Man U drafts a 4-year-old soccer player.
Yeah, John Starks. They picked him up out of a grocery store. That guy, he was working at the store when they found him. Who knows?
Or but actually, I was going to bring up something else, Raptors talk, but it's kind of coming up, and it's interesting conversation to me. How are we feeling as far as the legacy for Raptors? And by that I mean, for me, a year ago, it was kind of like, I know Lowry maybe didn't have the best season if you compare it like to Vince or Bosch. It was pretty close. But in my mind, he was like edging his way to being the best Raptor ever. And then I don't know why I was like that was such an easy decision for me. I guess I kind of underestimated the season DeMar might have. So yeah, and DeMar has all those extra games played. He's gonna win. He's gonna have so many more records than Lowry. It kind of makes me think like, was I just short-sighted in thinking that DeMar is the best Raptor ever and he's headed there? Or is it kind of like Lowry and DeMar maybe are going to share this, like, this was the best time to be a Raptor fan, and they both kind of represent that?
DeMar's Batman. Man, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
No. Just
he's
say it as clear as possible.
and
DeMar's Batman.
He's Batman and Lowry's Robin, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let me tell you something.
But-
Robin's interchangeable, dog.
Yeah.
Batman's had multiple Robins, different people underneath that.
Yeah.
You know,
Fair
what I'm
enough.
saying?
And you know, I guess the reason I'm bringing that up too is like Lowry's looking like more of a Robin this year.
But that is what he needs to be a true point guard and give DeMar DeRozan this ball as they're starting to do more so now.
Totally.
I understand you can shoot the three. That's great, and you'll
But
get your
he's
shots.
using DeMar as gravity to shoot the three,
That's
like
right.
more open three.
Once
so.
they start, closing in on him like they're going to have to, yeah, okay, now's your time to do it. But let that happen first.
Yeah, and he seems like he's doing that. Like Lowry looks really natural in that respect this year.
He's a point.
And-
He should have been like that the whole time. But now it's good that it's starting to even out, and there's a sense of balance. With those two guys, and I think it's just because they get along.
Yeah.
And they're becoming close friends.
And
age has to be a factor. Like,
I think maturity,
DeMar's
the
entering
whole-
his a lot of players like prime is always very debatable because there's so many factors.
Yeah.
But I think DeMar, as far as like training, seems to be entering like both his like mental / physical prime.
that maturity, man. That's
Yeah,
what you
and like
want.
he's not going to lose all of the physical stuff till like another couple years. And Lowry's about to turn 31.
Well, and it's
So-
interesting to me, like what would have happened if, like, given how Lowry had this reputation as like a tempestuous brat for so long, like if DeMar's elevation that we've seen this season happened in a previous year when maybe Lowry was less okay with it, like if he had become a jerk and not started passing like he should. So I'm kind of on the opinion as well that like DeMar is the number one, but because the egos at play have shrunk and are more understanding, it's kind of like, Kyle can tell himself whatever he needs to tell himself, but DeMar's never going to shove
Kyle a little bit of therapy here.
DeMar can like average 30 points a game, but he's not going to shove it in anyone's face. He's always going to give credit and give love to his buddy, his teammate, and so I think that helps keep things
And also,
rolling
like,
smoothly.
With Lowry, him coming over from Houston, there was all the coaching stuff, and with Memphis, he lost the battle to Mike Conley, and he just had this like giant chip on his shoulder. But it's a different chip than DeRozan. DeRozan's chip, like he came here and he watched Bosch leave, and he really just took the time and developed as a player. And he has that famous tweet like, "I got us," after Bosch left.
Yeah.
And that's like a year or two before Lowry even got there.
Yeah.
So like he really,
Was it like his third season?
I think so.
Something like three. Yeah.
But yeah, he really sat through all the losing because like even. I don't know what the records were of Houston and Memphis when Lowry was there, but I don't think they were that bad. Like I think Houston was actually pretty good. But I think DeMar really like owns that we the North kind of attitude.
His turn, and he took his turn, and it's still his turn to be the guy around here,
and he's enjoying it
as he
tell.
should. As he should. He built. He's a major brick to this atmosphere that we love. You know what I mean? Like Drake is a cool part of it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But DeMar DeRozan wasn't on the team. I don't think Drake is hanging out down there.
Yeah, for
You know
sure.
what I'm saying? Because he's fire.
Yeah. Drake's not like, "What's up, Joey Graham?"
Yeah. That's what I mean. He's not hanging out.
Yo, Joey Graham, you got to come to my party tonight. It's crazy.
And that was the problem. Like the problem was Kobe left, right? And then everyone started talking about Stephen Curry for some reason. And everyone, I was
For
like, did
some reason-
LeBron James die? Like, did LeBron James just stop playing basketball? Because how do you think you're gonna just skip this man?
Yeah.
Who has been waiting very patiently for Kobe to just leave, so that conversation could not be had anymore, even though it wasn't a conversation for the last 5 years. And people were still trying to have it.
Yeah.
Now he's gone. You know what I mean? So now,
and that's legacy. I think like legacy extends even like certain people's primes.
so a smaller scale for us is, you know what?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
DeMar's turn, bro. And let him do what he's got to do. He's actually winning playoff
That's a good
rounds
point.
for us and stuff. We were never doing that before.
Totally.
And now we are. This is the best version of the Raptors I've ever seen.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
it's
This
not
is the
even
best
close.
version I've ever seen. So
best,
let him
like-
do what he's got to do.
I've been a season seat holder for 11 years now.
Yep, we've been doing it for a while.
And basically, like, there's just like we actually had a Bargnani era
Yeah.
That's like I'm like
he's the new Dirk.
I'm like re-traumatizing myself just thinking about like it's 7 years. It wasn't like we were just like trying something and like, oh, it didn't work. It's like it was 7 years
We
of being
waited, bro.
And it wasn't just the
man.
on-court thing. It was like the Etal pasta ads and everything. It was the whole thing.
Man.
It was just...
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
And like, and so I get that DeMar has like
Primo,
certain inefficiencies with the three, but I too appreciate the old school game. And I think there's a lot to be said when you play against a guy, like everyone wants to talk about analytics and they're obviously very important and they're changing basketball. But even with Curry, like when you frustrate your opponent with the shots you're making, that is extra value. It's not like a layup.
Yeah.
Although a layup, I guess, can be frustrating too. But like, man, there was a couple plays where DeMar got double teamed at the end of the fourth quarter against Milwaukee, and he just like shimmied a guy and popped a shot, and you could just see Jason Kidd being like, timeout, I guess. What the hell?
Yeah, like
that was the plan.
Antetokounmpo.
The plan was to make DeMar pass.
He's good.
But
and
he's
letting us know he's good. That's why he stayed.
Yeah.
I think that's why he stayed. You know what I mean? Because it's like
talk about opposite of getting a big contract.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, like he's not even just like he's like breaking through his career
so
norms,
neat, like,
which were already good.
The fact that he was like with the U.S. team this summer and stuff, and people are saying like, oh, he just saw those guys. Like, oh yeah, no, I am them.
Yeah.
They are me. Like we're there. But it's just
that's what I mean with crew.
It's just
and I
such
feel
a-
like Norm Powell's got a little bit of that.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
we'll see.
it's also a quiet confidence. It's not a brashness, which whatever. It's just my thing. But I like appreciate that he's doing it. But he's not. I like his ego.
He's good. He's good.
it's
Heart and mind, good
it's
place.
his mind, not only because he's playing for club and country, right? Because and he'll always talk about how it's the whole country behind him and behind his team, and I think he loves that. Yeah. I think anyone should love that. You know what I mean? I think the gimmick of having to come to Toronto to play, I think that's gone, and it's DeMar, who really made that go away.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Like people helped him along the way, but he was the first one to be like, I'm anchoring myself here.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
It like almost could have happened with Vince Carter and did in a certain way, but Vince Carter
until it didn't.
Yeah,
until it
didn't.
Until it didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, just to wrap up the Raptors talk here. I guess not too much to say, but I just wanted to see how you guys are feeling about Pascal Siakam because I'm just like a rookie usually doesn't grow that fast. Even think about someone like DeMar. He had a whole season of kind of like, figuring things out. Siakam seems to be figuring things out quarter by quarter. He covers so much ground. He might be this like, we always talk about the power forward being the missing spot, but it's like this guy, I don't know. He's like 26 overall pick, wasn't even in like a major radar in like March Madness. And even Pirtle's good, which we've talked about a little bit on the podcast, but Siakam definitely seems to be special. Matt, we'll start with you.
So do you credit the system? You know what I mean? Is it him coming in, figuring out, okay, yeah, I get the system.
I guess a mix of that and opportunity.
You know what
Solinger
I mean?
goes
and
out.
like you said, from a not a serious like a March Madness contender. So now you're just coming in on a better basketball team. You're coming in with better things around you, and maybe that's just what he needed.
That's true. Because he is one of those like NBA body guys.
That's right.
So he might.
Right.
Yeah. I actually feel like that's a weird thing with NCAA, NBA, where like, and I think that's what makes drafting so tricky because.
The system
it's
too.
Like, oh, this guy wasn't that good, but his like standing reach is like preposterous. So I'll figure it out.
Can we mold them? You know what I mean? And sometimes that works. And sometimes you get Bargnani, right?
Or you get like the ultimate experience, Bruno.
Yes.
Someone who's like, what is basketball? And you're like, come with me, son. You know what I mean? Like that's like basically what Bruno is. And he's making strides, but like there's raw and then there's like, Brazilian Village Raw.
Yeah.
And that's like he like people didn't even know him, like other like amazing basketball scouts. Yeah. James, you got anything on Pascal?
I mean, I can't really say that I do.
It's like 12, what are we like 20 games?
I got my first tickets. I'm going on Wednesday to watch the Memphis game, so nice. I'll bring my binoculars and I'll keep them trained on Pascal. I'll have an answer for you next week.
Oh my god, I was watching a league pass highlight game. It was Memphis against Miami, and I don't know why, but I just started watching because like league pass usually shows you like the most of the makes, but some misses, but like mostly makes. But in the second half, I just started watching like when Memphis would be dribbling the ball, you'd have a clear view of Eric Spoelstra. And every time Memphis would hit a shot, like all these coaches have like specific ticks.
Oh yeah.
And he kicks his right leg.
What?
Like it's almost like he gestures to the ref like tripping.
Yeah.
But like he's not really gesturing to
Just like
anyone. So when someone just hits a tough basket or a three, he just goes like that. and Fizdale is a new coach for Memphis. He has this weird thing where he'll like notice something early in the play, like which like maybe he thought should have been a foul, and then like calmly watch the play, and then Miami would like hit a shot, and then he like points at the ref, being like, "That thing that just happened 10 seconds ago. Undo this." Like, you know what I mean? Like he just furiously points around.
Coaches are crazy. Like,
Yeah,
they're
like-
going for their job. Like, honestly, yesterday I watched Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspur watching BPL, and they're just talking about this coach and how crazy he's running up the sidelines like with his players. So everyone on that one side can hear, and he's saying, "Okay, you got to pass it there," and he's literally instructing them as they're playing. It's
That's awesome.
It's outrageous. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But when you got to get this.
Soccer's insane too. It's like a
coaching,
giant pitch. Like,
a coaching job, especially in the NBA, is probably the most shady job you can have. You know what I mean? You get fired so quick, dude.
Totally.
So quick, in a way where it's and we don't even really think about it. Where it's like, dude, this guy got fired. Like, what about his family and all this stuff?
Yeah.
And he's done. And we
Mike Brown, man.
Yeah.
Mike Brown, I think, if I'm not mistaken, has been fired twice on the beginning of a 5-year, like, multi-million-dollar contract.
That's crazy.
Now, he still gets all that money.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Who is he getting fired from?
He got fired from the Cavaliers on, like, it was, like, the first year of a 5-year contract. But, like, they have to pay you the whole contract.
Yeah.
Right.
So the team's just being like, oh, man. Like, I just don't understand why they signed him for 5 years.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, like coaching is insane. I think
you
it
have
does
to be passionate about it, because if you're not putting that passion in, or they think you're not putting that passion in, dude,
Yeah.
you're done.
totally.
Yeah.
You're done. That sucks.
Yeah.
But that's
Casey after that Sacramento.
but he stays getting mad though. I've always liked him, man.
Yeah.
Get mad, break a clipboard, man.
Casey
We
is a
have
nice.
bunch.
He's a nice, calm mad.
Yeah.
And by that I mean never fully happy. You know what I mean? Like he's just never fully satisfied. And it's like I think he just rests in that place where it's like you might not see me freak out that much, but I'm generally always ticked
He's
off.
the scary dad
Yeah,
on the block. You know, like for some reason you always hung out at that kid's house and you were scared of his dad.
Oh, he'd be a scary dad for sure.
But he still brought cookies downstairs and juice, but you were scared.
But then he'd stare at you real aggressively
Yeah.
while you're eating your cookie.
Or he'd
Am
be
I
like
doing it
he'd be
wrong?
like, I have a couple ideas about how you can better build a Western shop in the Lego world.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, oh, okay, Dwayne.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, let me show you. And he'd be like, and he just like slowly builds the whole
He's scary
Lego
dad,
world.
man.
Yeah.
But that's good. And
Talking life lessons the whole time.
You need that because it comes from coach. You don't want your players getting texts and getting tossed out. You know what I mean? Let the coach do that.
Yeah.
And then let the players feed off of the energy after that, which is what it's all about, I think.
Cool.
So, coaching's good.
Yeah, man. I say we switch over to the NBA. Matt, if you want to give us a little. Oh, baby. He's still staring me down.
With a stocking behind him, though. So it's like Frosty smiling, Matt
It's
glaring.
very festive stare
Super
down.
fessed up. My girlfriend did it last night.
Fessed up.
Came home from watching a game with my grandma
Yeah.
to this.
Hey, that's fair.
I will say one thing that's hilarious about watching sports with an old lady is that she can't handle replays. She's like, keeps thinking it's live. She's like, oh, he just got hit again.
Oh my God, that's terrible. That's not right.
It was hard.
There should be different settings. There should be like no replay.
What would it be like if you'd like seen The Matrix but didn't understand the concept of instant replays? Like, so you bought into the whole glitch in the Matrix thing, but then never
saw a
mind.
replay.
Yeah, and then like every time, like
James, that's a deep dive.
That'd be
I'm just saying,
like-
maybe.
James has just like spent the whole weekend watching Cronenberg movies. And he's like, how can I interject that into the podcast?
How can you
Just, like,
manage
deep.
to see the Matrix before you witness an instant
This is
replay?
this
You
is
know,
the
like-
most fun thing about being a professional philosopher. You just get to invent situations where, like, I know this is never going to happen, but imagine
guy?
if a dog had complete sentience.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool. Well, Simpsons already did. It was fun.
Yeah. I'm going back to my planet.
But okay, so I want to talk about a couple things, and actually, while we're talking about those things, Matt, I'm just thinking we didn't do your question segment last week. So while we're talking about NBA stuff, if you have any questions afterwards,
Okay.
you want to hit us up with, cool. If not, also cool, because I only texted you an hour before the show. Yeah, we played the Bucks. He's about to turn 22. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Greek Freak, is a preposterous player. And I wanted to see what you guys are thinking about him. Like, what is his ceiling? He, against the Raptors and more recently against other teams as well, he's been playing point guard and guarding centers. He's just under 7 foot. He's basically like seemingly pretty easily getting triple doubles. Like, I don't know. We haven't seen a lot of players like him. He doesn't have the bulk of LeBron, but he has this preposterous length. Like a couple times, the way he spun off Lowry and dunked, or even crowned JV on a play, is just it looks very different. Matt, we'll start with you. What do you think about Giannis?
That style of player, man. I think that's just where the NBA is going, because
he looks like the future.
You know what I mean? Like, because that's just like my dude Kristaps Porzingis, man, out there for the Knicks. That's my dog out there.
Oh man, he's 7'3" too.
And they made a rap song about him.
Yeah, that's a beautiful song.
That's a wicked song,
and it's awesome because but he does, what you're talking about, and kind of you have to.
He breaks the mold.
And this is what Bruno's supposed to be.
Nobody wants to be the traditional center anymore. And even these kids growing up super tall, they don't care. You know what I mean? They're still dribbling the ball.
And they're popping threes.
And now they're making it to the league with that.
Totally.
And it's on display now. And it's just a pleasure to see.
Well, we got Towns hitting threes. Boogie can hit threes. Embiid's hitting threes. There's a lot of like mold breaking players.
Yeah, Towns is special too but he dunks from where he chooses from.
Yeah,
and
totally.
His highlights.
But like
nice.
Giannis playing point guard, I don't know. To me, anyways, it's one of the. It's like it's almost like he's kind of this weird mix of like LeBron James, Magic Johnson,
that Dirk flair. You know what I mean? You have to have it.
But oddly enough, his shooting is like the last thing to come. Like it's not there yet, but he's just so physically dominant. Like it's almost like it feels like to me like I'm watching Westbrook. If Westbrook just ate like a Mario mushroom, you know what I mean? Like obviously Westbrook is better than Giannis, but I mean it's almost like he has that style.
Well,
but he's just got a way bigger body.
Well, but this is what I don't get. I watch some Giannis highlights. I hear people talk about him, but then you unequivocally say Westbrook is better than Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
In what way? Like he's better shoot. Like is he reading the play better? Like because in my mind, like how much better does Westbrook have to be to overcome the fact that Giannis is physically what he is? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And
People talk about this specimen and this mold breaker and like how amazing he is, but he's obviously got good skills as well beyond his body. But like, what is?
Well, no, he's an excellent dribbler. He's fast. He's athletic. He is excellent defender.
So should he be scoring 40 points every game?
I mean, well, the whole thing about Giannis is like it's just a bit of a new conversation because Westbrook's establishes himself as this guy, but Giannis is 21.
Right.
So it's kind of like think about our 21-year-olds. Giannis is younger than Norm. He's younger than
time, right? Is only, and honestly,
I guess he's
people
22.
don't know. People don't know him yet. So when people start
scouting him,
and doing up game film and stuff,
that's true. That's true.
Let's see how you react to that kind of stuff.
That's a good point.
Because Brendan Jennings had 55 points out there in Milwaukee, and then he faded straight away. You know what I mean? Because people started looking at him, and he couldn't make the adjustment. People look at Russie. People have nightmares. Designing
and
plays
they still can't stop him.
and you can't stop that man.
Yeah.
So he's a little bit different.
There is something to be said about like once the book comes out on a player, how do they respond?
Yes.
Adjust. Yeah.
So just moving on. Golden State. So I was one of those people. I like watching Golden State lose. It's fun.
Yes.
And I definitely rejoice in the unexpected. So when Kawhi, murdered them in that first game against the Spurs, I was all like, not really. But a part of me was like, wanting that pendulum to swing, wanting the age of the big man to roar back. And, then they lost to the Lakers. like a couple games later, which is like, oh my god, the Lakers is like, which are a fun, exciting storyline this year. But yeah, I think they're 15-2 or 14-2, and I just thought I'd throw this out there. Is 72 wins or 73 wins in question again? At the beginning of the season, I said no.
They can't care about that.
Yeah, I say no. I say no.
If they do it, it is by accident.
I know, but I guess that's what what I'm asking, because I'm watching these Golden State highlights, and it's happening again. They're ripping through teams.
That's what
like
what they do.
It's really not even close. So like them losing just doesn't seem likely. That's the thing. Like, I think I'm soon enough they'll start to talk about like, oh, they're on the pace of the Bulls or the last year's Golden State, and they're not there yet because lots and lots of teams have been 14-2. But just the way the games are happening, I feel like they're only going to lose maybe every 10 games.
Well, you know what, man? I'm not sold on them because it's pressure basketball. Like
it is. Every game is like
regular season basketball. It's faster pace. There's a lot of transition, moving the ball up and down the court like that. When it's slowing it down and it is play by play.
Yeah,
that's when they got exposed, bro. Like that's why they lost the 3-1 lead because when it came down to by the play. Not, oh yeah, we can afford to miss this one because we're going to run back and get it, whatever. That's gone.
And also, like in the regular season, you have the benefit of like just like ripping through teams that don't have the players to even ball with you.
Yeah, you're playing New Orleans. You know what I mean? And you're playing lamer teams.
Although I would say with Durant, they're probably better equipped
to fight LeBron James.
James.
Honestly, LeBron doesn't seem any different. You really like it's scary that he's only played 1,000 games.
Yeah,
like,
and
you know what I mean?
Love also just had this 34-point first quarter. Love and Kyrie, like man, continuity is huge in the NBA. We're seeing it with the Clippers. We're seeing it with Cleveland. We're seeing it with us. Mm-hmm. How much just people knowing their roles and knowing what they're supposed to do. But I guess just getting back to Golden State though, are they already past those growing pains? Those growing pains?
Yeah,
is that already over?
Well, like just to figure out who they are with each other?
Yeah, because they lost 3 or 4 or 5 players.
They were crippling people in the preseason too. They're out there beating people by like 30.
I think unless in that kind of situation, unless you have, and again, I just keep coming back to the psychology, but unless you have people who don't understand how to share a ball at a very basic level, there's not that much growing pain going on when you have a lot of those players don't need a huge number of plays developed for them because their skill set is so good. But then what you say, if you don't develop those plays, if you don't have those like consistent go-tos that are there for when the pure skill falters, that's when you get into trouble. Now, I don't think that they're going to win as many games this season just because they're going to be a bit more relaxed in a couple games. I think they're just you get caught along there and like down. We've made it this far last season.
After the All-Star break and it's time to pony up. You know what I mean? Not necessarily resting people, but like you say, that's when you.
They probably will rest people too. That's a fact.
They have to because they don't have the depth.
Okay, so if you had to throw it out, how many wins are is Golden State going to get this year?
How many did they get last year?
73.
70. Oh, I'll give them a hot 69.
Okay.
Oh, I think they win like 60, 62 games. Like,
oh, really?
Like, I think they win whatever it is to win the West. You know what I mean? I think they do.
They'll just do what that is.
Yeah,
right.
but not by a million.
Although the Clippers seem to be pushing that number pretty high too.
I watch a lot of Clippers basketball.
Yeah.
I was back and forth between the Raps and I watched the Clippers game because I do the Rogers pack, so I get all the NBA stuff. It's so like everything. Clippers are another team like that of the Raptors. I promise you, regular season, I'm not worried about them at all. Yeah. But when it is now playoff time and it comes down possession by possession.
Yeah, well, Chris Paul, second round curse, man.
You got to prove you got to prove yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's your time to do that. The West is such a wild. It is the Wild West. Anyone can do anything, you feel like. And if the Clippers are going play by play, of course. Yeah. They should be able to take to anybody, do they?
Totally.
Only time gets to tell with that team.
Yeah, for sure. Like, well, actually, I was my last NBA subject was going to say, are the Clippers for real? Because they look amazing. And is it that magical year where all their continuity and like past failures are coming together, or is it kind of?
But they always
false?
look pretty good. Like you're saying, every regular season they look pretty good. And I'm
So
not.
are you guys both kind of like same Clippers, which is a great team?
I'm not.
But it's not like it's not pushing Golden State.
You know what? The offense is running great, and I love Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
So
And that Paul Blake pick and roll with DeAndre running in, and either guy able to lob it to DeAndre is a nightmare. Like the Raptors could not handle it.
There's nothing you can do.
It's just too problematic for defense.
And they're deep, man. The bench is nice. I love JJ Redick. I think he's great. And Jamal Crawford.
JJ Redick's on fire.
That's my dude.
And also they have like
my dude.
Emba Amute is doing excellent as a starting three. But I mean, like by his standards, he's like 6 points a game or something. But it's like good defense. It's kind of what they need. It's just a role player. Okay. I think that's good for NBA talk because we're gonna get to some more stuff. But Matt, do you have any questions for the panel today?
Just one real quick question that we didn't touch on.
Oh my god!
In the Raptors talk,
okay,
we didn't talk about the missed call or the 3-pointer that didn't count.
Expiration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff I've read about it, of course, there's the argument that, I guess Raptors fans might feel like
he would have shot sooner if he saw the clock was running.
Or
down.
just that does this only happen to the Raptors? This kind of stuff. I mean, I think that's silly as hell. But
that's the NBA. It's that same old conversation that keeps coming up. It's like, are the Raptors actually slighted?
Did the NBA say anything? Did they do their last 2-minute discussion thing about it?
I'm pretty sure they stood behind them.
The decision.
They did. Yeah,
because it wasn't the refs. It was like the
Matt's
video
right,
review center.
Because I saw the. I didn't watch the game. I just saw the play because everyone kept talking about it. And Buddy touches it, so yeah, I feel clock should have started.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that being said, I don't know. How do you?
The only question for me was like, okay, if he'd seen the clock was running down, would he have shot it sooner? Therefore, you have to play the last 2.4 seconds again. And that's why I think the Sacramento coach was like giggling and getting his players off to the change room because he's like, that's the only thing that could be changed on that. But I don't know. Is there a process in place for that? There should be now.
Okay, so I think the main thing, and we were talking about like DeMar being hot before. So just to touch on that point I wanted to get in earlier is in that Sacramento game, Rudy Gay sunned him.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy Gay, that's like the worst game of the season for DeMar. Rudy Gay dominated DeMar, and it was a couple. There's a couple times he made him look bad too. So we really should have won that game. So getting all that out of the way, a couple of problems I had was one thing I read and saw from a screen cap was that when the shot clock expired for Sacramento, there's 3.2 on the clock. Somehow that 3.2 changed to 2.4 for the Raptors, which is kind of mysterious. And so that's problem number one. Problem number two is, like James touched on, a player evaluates how much time they have to do something by knowing the seconds on the clock. These guys live in gyms.
Yeah.
They practice those things.
There's a clock above the hoop.
So whether it's 3.2 or whether it was a deflection, and the timer and the person starting the shot clock didn't make a mistake, Ross was still robbed of that opportunity to make that adjustment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I really don't understand.
Replay the last 2.4.
And yeah, so that kind of bothers me. Also, at a certain point, like it is a game. Why don't you give the fans an overtime?
Yeah.
Know what I mean? Like that was a really badass 3.
Yeah.
And yeah, Dave Yeager running his players off the court like that was a little bit like guilty looking.
It's always the Raptors. And on the topic of the question, like, do the Raptors get shaded? Sometimes, honestly, it feels like that.
A bit, yeah.
But you know what else the Raptors are also prone to have happen to them? Like, records get broken on these dudes all the time. Like, anytime someone decides they're going to change the game of basketball, it's always on the Raptors. It's a wicked slam. And it'll be a highlight package of dunks from like the best of the NBA. But 2 or 3 of these are like, well, man, that was nasty. And who is it on? Raptors. And it's so I don't know if it's because people feel. I think it's the Canadian thing, dude.
Yeah.
And
And it's a
starts
media
from
thing
there.
too.
Yeah.
I think it's just, we have to go to Canada. So why am I going to give Buddy a call? Why am I going to give Buddy from Canada that call? You could, but you don't. So
And,
we just don't get that.
I'm sure there's some NBA fans who legitimately do watch all the teams as closely as their home team, but I certainly don't. So I have my perspective skewed right off the hop. So any bad thing that happens to the Raptor, I'm aware of, but I don't know what happened to Utah. I don't know how Quinn Snyder was hard done by or whatever else,
Probably was though.
Yeah, probably was. That's why he looks so angry.
Cool. So I say we're going to move on to the. I do declare we're going to move on to the final portion of the podcast.
Bum, bum, bum,
If you
bum.
want to hit that, baby, Matt. Dun, dun, ba-dum. Let me just pull up the Proline point spread.
Oh dear.
I'm about to keep my record going by shattering you all.
Did you get
Oh, nice roundabout pun. Very roundabout pun.
I'm perfect.
So we'll explain how spreads work just in case anyone doesn't know. But also, Matt, if you want to read off the scores from last time.
Oh, I can do that for sure. Okay. So we did about 4 games, I think. And let me just read them off here. So I'll just... Oh, it means I'm in the fun house, guys.
Ooh. Is that just okay? Oh, is that you opening our website?
Yeah.
And Dracula laughing?
That's I can't remember what coach it is, but
Please visit our website.
Yeah,
It's very
check out the
high-tech.
basketball fun house. There
Yeah.
is that crazy laugh when you enter.
Yeah.
And it's I can't remember what coach it is, but he's great.
That's a coach?
Yeah, that's a coach.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Then that's a deep sound effect by Matt, and I was just making fun of it.
very
You know what? I'm not
relevant.
even responsible for that one. That was you or Kevin, and I don't know.
Oh.
It's probably Kevin.
Wow. Okay.
It was
Fair
you.
enough.
Anyways, last time we had Atlanta versus Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta was to win by 7.
Mm-hmm.
How do I say that? Atlanta has the spread by 7.
Yeah, or Atlanta's going to cover by 7.
Cover by 7.
Yeah.
They ended up winning by 3.
Right.
So I picked Miami.
Okay.
You picked Miami.
Yep.
Should I say just Kevin or just the two of us?
No, you might as well throw Kevin in there, but I feel like what I really want to know is the final scores.
Oh, the final
Like
scores.
the final
Oh,
tallies.
Okay, yeah.
Like, are you 4 for 5?
I'm 4 for 4.
4 for 4?
You're 2 for
2 for 4? Okay.
Yeah. And then Kev was 1 for 4.
Ouch. Well,
Yeah.
what about, and we're combining the guesses.
Guests are they were both 1 for 4.
So 2 for 8.
2 for 8.
Okay,
1
guess.
for 8.
Pressure.
To make this happen for these guests.
Yeah, guess got to pick it
Oh
up.
my goodness.
Okay, cool. Well,
this kind of thing, covering the spread and stuff.
Yep.
It's the same as with fantasy, where you're just you're down against Golden State by 4 points, and you just keep fouling people to try and get back, and you just keep fouling Steph Curry, and the other team in fantasy this week has Steph Curry, and you're just so close to getting him on free throw percentage, but then Steph just keeps hitting them again and again, anyway. So it's the same with the spread. If you're watching one of these games, and then somebody just shoots a casual 3 from center court, and then that covers the spread, then you lose $50
right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I've seen Hardball, bro. I know how this works.
yeah.
See how happy that man was when they covered the spread,
Yeah.
Bulls getting smashed, and then this
Yeah.
guy doesn't get his legs broke because everybody covered the spread.
I haven't seen that. Sounds like my
Yeah.
complaints are minimal.
Oh, you'll love Hardball. Get your
No,
titties.
but it sounds like you're interested in the whole world of covers and fantasy nightmares.
Sure, yeah, fantasy nightmares,
yeah.
absolutely.
Okay,
Fantasy
so for any viewers or any listeners who aren't familiar with Proline or point spread, basically through a series of algorithms, they make a prediction on the team they're favoring for that particular game.
Series of algorithms.
Yeah.
I would like to see those algorithms. It is.
Oh, it is.
It's your gut. It's gutterisms. That's what they
Yeah.
call that. But he's gonna win by X.
Oh, but no, I always feel like these things are a bunch of nerds laughing at all the people
Yeah.
trusting
They
their gut.
mathed it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trusting their gut. Like, where did this number come from? And
Yeah.
what did you multiply? A bunch of stuff I'm not going to check your math on. That's how you know.
Exactly.
Where it came
Okay,
from.
so when a team is covering, they're expected to win by set amount. But anyways, I think people get it.
Yeah.
If they're really interested, they can look it up.
Yeah, they can, just do a quick Wikipedia there.
First game.
So first game, we have Sacramento at Brooklyn. Sacramento is favored by 4.
Oh,
That's what I'm seeing.
James.
100% Sacramento.
James, just right off the bat, no hesitation. Sacramento.
Yeah.
Sacramento in Brooklyn, winning by 4, no problem.
yeah. Isn't
Okay.
Brooklyn the most garbage?
Brooklyn's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Garbage.
I stand by my prediction.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I too would. I see Sacramento winning by more than 4 points. Actually.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Duncan, Mr. Matt Duncan.
No pressure, bud. No pressure of a perfect record or anything. Say Brooklyn.
No.
Ooh, I like the mind
going-
games. They're a new wrinkle. A
I
wrinkle in
have to
time.
go with my gut on these things, and yes, Sacramento.
Okay.
Obviously.
Freddie's going to join the band, Sacramento.
Yay!
This time we're going to start with you, Matt Henry. It's Milwaukee at Orlando.
Ooh.
Milwaukee favored by 1.
Yeah, I'm looking
my
at it too.
So just a straight up win.
You know what? Nah, bro. I think Milwaukee's a better basketball team. And they're probably salty from dealing with the Raptors.
Yep.
So let them go and handle
Okay.
Gumbo and company down there.
All right. Milwaukee. Mr. Matt Duncan.
I'd like to cheer for Biombo. He made a drastic move going down there.
Sure. 18
Took
mil.
the money.
yeah,
drastic.
yeah, drastic 18 mil move. Yeah.
But I think they're bouncing into each other a little bit too much down there, so I'm going to go with Milwaukee as well.
They're bouncing into each other. Matt, I'm just thinking.
They have 2 balls
Matt,
at all times.
Matt Duncan's
Going.
thoughts about basketball is people being, pardon me, oh sorry, I bounced into you again.
Excuse me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm going Milwaukee on this one. I think Orlando is a bit of a disaster.
A lot of it is.
And I think Giannis is a beast. So, James, we'll finish with you this time.
Yeah, Jason Kidd won't stand for a loss to Orlando, so I pick Milwaukee as well.
Okay, well, no deviations quite yet.
Not yet. It'll happen though. Don't worry.
So this game is the LA Clippers at Indiana. And the Clippers are favored by 10.5, aka 11.
And Paul's injured.
And Paul George is injured.
Yeah, sorry, there's a bunch of Pauls. Paul George.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
10.5,
so Paul
eh?
George. So they're expecting a Clippers stomp. Mr. Matt Duncan, we're going to start with you this time. Do you think the Clippers go into Indiana and win by 11 or more?
Have to win by 11 or more, eh? I'm gonna say no.
Wow. How dare you?
He's right to do that. He's right to do that. I see 9. I don't. Indiana's not as. They're not that good. They're not as good as they thought they were last year. I promise you that. But they are a decent team. They'll lose. But they'll keep it
by 8.
Yeah.
Mr. Matt Duncan, I'm doing the exact same thing as you. I'm also picking Indiana for similar reasons that Matt Henry was saying. But James, you're up next.
Yeah, I'm just quickly pulling up the Indiana roster to see.
Sweating like crazy, James.
Hey, look at this picture of CJ Miles.
Okay, it's CJ Miles, but it's just a very beautiful woman.
In lingerie.
So you know what?
Type in Indiana Pacers roster and the CJ Miles
Her name's
picture.
probably also CJ Miles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, could
definitely
be. I mean, 11 points is a lot of points.
That's right.
Indiana's not a terrible team. They're at home.
But Clippers have been blowing people out.
Sunday in Indiana, they're probably pretty relaxed. I'm going to say they don't cover the spread. I say Clippers are going to win, but not by 11.
Okay, so 3 Indiana so far. Matt Henry's, I feel like you're on the same side.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, well, all unanimous all day. That's okay.
It's very exciting.
Next up, we got New Orleans at Dallas.
Oh, gross.
New Orleans is favored by 4. This one I think is really tough.
I know what I'm saying.
I think I'm actually going to go. I could kind of see it going either way because New Orleans is not very good, but Dallas has been kind of a disaster.
Real? Aren't they dead last?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They've had 2 wins.
Dirk.
But I know, but,
Get out of there,
but Dallas
Dirk.
at home, Carlisle's probably going to turn it around.
4
at some
points?
point.
Pat for Dirk.
You know
Saying
what?
it now.
I'm going to go New Orleans. I'm going to pick New Orleans to win by 4 on the road, which I'm not too excited about, but I'm going with that. James?
I'm going to just because I in fantasy learned who Wesley Matthews was and thought he'd be a great pickup before his season ended. I think he's going to hit like 8 threes, and they're certainly going to cover the 4 points. I'm going with Dallas.
Okay. All right. Our first disagreement took a while.
So, no, I'm going Dallas too.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Because
Squeeze me.
What's New Orleans' record this year? And like,
It's pretty bad, too.
You know what I
They
mean?
have like 4 or 5 wins.
and the way how I feel about Dallas, like, I never feel they're all the way
Dallas
out.
should win.
Yeah, I just feel like they're not ever all the way out on stuff.
Guys, I thought Dallas was going to be 8th in the playoffs.
They got
this year.
great players. They just have
That's
to.
I don't know about that.
No. I mean, sorry, at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, but it's one
Now
of
it
those-
just looks like yikes. But
I don't know. There's certain teams I expect Dallas to beat. Period. Just in
Yeah.
and New Orleans.
that's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
New Orleans is 6-11.
Okay, so
Dallas is 2-13.
I'm New Orleans.
Oh, they're due for a victory. It's clear.
If there's anything I know about roulette,
I want
it's-
that like voice recording of you saying that, Matt, like in my life more, like just like
Due
at
for
like
victory.
that. You should play that in stadium. It's like, and they're due for a victory.
I'm excited. They are due for play by play
love
is
it.
what I want to get into very soon. So.
Dallas is on an 8-game losing streak as well.
Woo.
Yeah, it's got to end, right?
Okay, are you on the end? Are you picking Dallas?
Now.
Oh,
He has a perfect record for it.
yeah. Matt, don't get
This is a tricky one. 2
Mr.
terrible
Duncan's
teams, and it's
getting
only 4
feisty.
points.
Tough one.
Yeah.
4 points, too. Yeah, like it could be just like whatever team wins by 2.
And they're not in the Smoothie King arena. They're in
Ooh,
whatever Dallas
that's right.
Stadium is called.
So
yeah.
Cuban's going to be all fired up.
Yeah.
'Cause he's probably real pissed. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Dallas.
Okay.
I'm going
All right,
Dallas.
just me. Just me hanging out at Smoothie King, away from my team,
Nolans.
Yeah.
drinking a Smoothie King in Nolans, and wishing my team the best. Okay, cool. Last one up.
Okay.
This one's probably could go either way, so it's a good one to end on. I started with you last time, James, right?
No,
Or
you
I started with me. Okay.
I start this time.
Yes. So
Ready. I'm ready
you ready?
to make
It's
a guess.
Houston
Houston.
at Portland.
Okay.
So it's just going to be a light show. Houston is favored by 2.5, aka 3. So Houston on the road by 3
Wait, it's in Portland?
in Portland.
I'll take Portland.
Okay, easy pick for James there.
Well, not easy, but like, I
Well,
mean,
you said it pretty quick.
okay.
Um,
I'm very smart. I've made millions of dollars in gambling.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
know.
He's
My sweater has many stains on it unrelated to these
I have
victories.
lost millions of dollars in gambling. So
Yeah,
I don't know what that really
It's got to be
means.
2 sides to every bet, man.
Yeah, you know
Sorry
what?
it was you.
you're all one
love-
guest.
I
One,
do
one body,
love-
one mind, one soul. to
I
guess.
love Damian Lillard so much. He raps. I don't know if you heard his freestyle.
It's pretty good.
Oh man, I was like, what?
Like-
Damian Lillard. That
Well,
was-
it's weird because
What,
basketball players rap quite often.
they're not allowed because they weren't allowed with David Stern. He stopped.
Really?
Allen Iverson from doing that a while back. As an also,
Yeah.
that's also why he had the sleeve on.
Yeah.
Everyone thought it was because it was cool because his tattoos had swearing in them, and he
Yeah.
had to cover it up. So yeah, you weren't allowed.
David Stern had a lot of like not cool things.
Wear a suit. You're not wearing these gangster
Yeah.
chains no more. I miss
Yeah.
those days, man. I miss the chains and the
Me
hats.
too. And I also love that players' response to that was like, "Oh, we're gonna wear suits. How about it's literally the nicest suits you've ever seen?" in your
Until
goddamn
Russell Westbrook decides to wear a kilt thing. Or,
Yeah.
you know what I
Blue
mean?
velour.
He looking
Yeah.
like the
Well-
H&M mannequin coming in every time.
Yeah, well, Westbrook's pushing it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, he's pushing.
Actually, a guy we started the podcast with who's great is Damari Carroll.
yeah,
He's the best. He always looks like he is like from the Wild Wild West.
And he's got like 2
he's like-
adopted puppies under his arms.
Yeah, but he's the animal guy. But he's like this kind of like really cool Grim Reaper.
Like you're talking about the Will Smith movie, right?
Yeah,
He's a cowboy.
You better believe steampunk. Okay, wait. So let's not lose the plot here. So James, Portland,
Portland for me too.
Portland for Mr. Matt Henry, Matt Duncan,
I am going Houston.
going Houston. Oh boy, I am going to go. This one is kind of tight. I'm gonna go Houston as well.
Okay.
But yeah,
Changes.
that about does it for the old pod.
Yeah.
We'll keep you updated with the scores and all that. Before we head off, James, you got anything you want to plug?
I mean, economicsresearch.tumblr.com is the most bizarre economics-related blog you'll ever read on the internet, probably.
Cool.
So check that out.
Sounds good. Drop some
Become a
acid.
follower.
Check out that website.
Read it first and then.
Okay, yeah.
But it works both ways.
read it
but
first,
Yeah,
read it
yeah.
Matt Henry, you got any shows coming up? What?
I just got life coming up, so the best way to find me, go to facebook.com/comedian Matt Henry, and
Sweet.
my life's on there.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Dunks? You got
What do I got coming up?
any Leafs games to plug?
Do I got any Leaf games?
Want to talk about your Leaf coach socks?
Oh, that's right. I have Bab socks I got for my birthday, and then I'm immediately reminded that he's the worst person in the world because
What was that?
He's a big game hunter.
What was his line about Africa?
Called Africa the NHL of hunting. Doesn't that suck?
Because you can't get bigger hunting than Africa. The animals you can kill
He
there,
says it's a real thrill knowing.
You enjoy those Bab
many and
No,
varied.
That's why I'm not going to tuck them into my pants so everyone can see.
NHL is garbage. You're not making no money.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
it's true.
You should have said the NFL. Of hunting.
You should have.
NFL 20% decline in ratings this year.
I am
true, yeah.
I am the badminton of playing chess in the park.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm the evanescence of tobogganing down the hill. Okay, that's probably enough.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
What a treat.
Awesome.
Hello. Can anyone around here speak basketball?
There it is.
Dieser 20 Confederacy of Dunks with Kevin Dawes and Freddie Revis.
Please subscribe and rate on iTunes and Stitcher.
And check out talkhole.co for more great podcasts.
Peace.